Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's
Hey,
doing good tonight. If
yes,
in there, uh,
everybody out
we may have a few out there, but I guess we'll have more come later. Tonight, we are going to discuss a few things with you. One is how there's been a lot of rescues of late. Then we're going to get credit to a lot of people, and we want to show you one other person that is missing tonight. Um, that has been in the news up in mainly in New York, and the family's really come out and actually done a lot to try to find the missing girl. But I'm gonna play this little video. We're gonna have a lot of videos tonight. A lot of some of them are long and some are not so long. So let me show
First
you this
tonight at
one
11, a
here.
young woman from Brooklyn vanished.
Her family with few clues aside from a cryptic phone call.
And now they want answers. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang.
Tajay Baker, a budding artist, was in her final semester of college. The 23-year-old lived at home with her mother, but now is missing.
After this rally, I'm going right back out there because I'm going to find my daughter.
The nightmare began on May 1st. Tajay took the bus to D.C., supposedly to do some posters for a woman she had met online. Then the nightmare of silence.
Where's my daughter? She got off at the Capitol Union Station, D.C.
The desperate family filed numerous police reports but complained the first official flyer put their missing person on a wanted poster.
What do you want? Justice! When do you want it? Now!
Eventually, the mother found some leads and surveillance video, which she shared with us. On June 1st, we're told Tajay called from a phone in this salon and in a whispered and scared voice begged to be rescued.
She said, just tell her mother to come get her.
By the time they raced to Maryland, Tajay was gone. The mother tells me she has tracked down the woman who initially asked her daughter to D.C. She fears her only child may have stepped into some kind of cult.
We believe that more needs to be done.
We here asking for justice. Justice to make sure Miss Baker come home. No, I haven't been sleeping at all. It's been over a month and 5 days now. I just want my daughter to return.
A mother's fearful cry.
behind the scenes.
And here's another couple of posters. I kind of think this very, I don't know, is them screaming justice and all this. I think that can be taken in two different ways. But this is a picture of her and a poster, missing poster of her. Says here that hello, Facebook friends, family. Pictured here is Tajay Baker. She's a daughter of one of my good friends. Tajay is graduate from her college. She's 23 years of age. She's been seen last seen and Radisha.
With Radisha.
Okay, with Radisha. Anyway, this is her picture, and apparently the family's very, very concerned, and I think I would be too if my daughter was out there and had given this cryptic note of help me.
Yeah.
I need help right now. That would be a big thing to me to try to get some people out here searching for her. They need to search traffic cams in the area. They need to search, if nothing else, get the police more involved. I think, though, it's just my opinion, but I think them saying we want justice, we want justice, we want no peace, no justice. I think that has been thrown up to that is what's out there. We're going to cover this case some more and see if we can't.
The girl that she was last seen with was a
Mhm.
spiritual medium.
Yeah,
And
it very
she
well
said-
could have been caught up in something.
She was last seen with her, and the lady was on Instagram acting as if Tajay isn't missing, and she went private. So the families reached out to her, and they will not return her call.
Well, I think that too. Maybe if more people will get involved, maybe that know this person, that. But it sounds like this girl's in real danger, so they need to try to catch up with her for sure. So we're gonna keep with this, and hopefully we can stir the pot a little.
Picture found her, and they were able to rescue her. What if the family could get in touch with them? Do you think that would help?
I don't know. They know about where she's at. If the police or whoever would investigate it up there, but they're gonna, you know, maybe they are. Well, hopefully in next week we'll know something through this. I want to show you this video. This is actually a rescue that happened. Um, and we're going to show a couple, and I'm going to talk about some ideas. But let me see here if this is it. Now, I want to talk about this first. This is actually a trafficking organization that got busted up in several states out in the West. I want you to watch this.
They were just all over, scattered all over.
From West Texas to Colorado, Mexico, and here in DFW.
It's actually probably the longest process that I've had to deal with as an investigator.
Supervisory Special Agent Stephanie Hard and Resident Agent in Charge Adam Kinnaman were part of Operation Lost Souls.
You were literally going to every person that they could have ever had any kind of contact with and just saying, please, do you know anything?
Dallas police confirmed none of the 70 kids found were their cases, but the agents confirm some had been in North Texas.
We did have victims that were taken up there and trafficked up there because, you know, Dallas-Fort Worth is a major hub for human trafficking.
It's just much easier to blend in and disappear into a bigger city like Dallas-Fort Worth.
Homeland Security investigations confirm most of the kids were classified as runaways, like the two 15-year-old girls who went missing from North Texas last month who were believed to have been trafficked.
That term runaway is almost gives fault to the child, right? Like it's their fault for running away. But what we have found in our line of work is that those children are running away from something.
Some in this operation were trafficked, some sexually and or physically abused, others were exploited.
What is child exploitation?
It can be financial, it can be sending inappropriate photos, or even production of, you know, some horrific things.
Operation Lost Souls found dozens, but they say education and awareness can keep this from happening. Until then,
there's still kids out there that are missing, and just because the operation's over, that doesn't mean that we're going to stop looking for them.
In North Texas, I'm Morgan Young.
And I think that does say a lot about runaways. So if somebody, say you have a runaway, and if you go, I tell you what, if you go any day, go up to Walmart and look on their wall of missing kids. There's a bunch of missing kids up there. Probably 90% of them are probably 95% of them are runaways. But it doesn't mean that they're not being trafficked. Just like they said, you get somebody that's a runaway, and a lot of time the police, because I can tell you, because I was in law enforcement, a lot of times the police will not take it as strong or serious at first because they're a runaway. Well, or especially one that maybe run away 4 or 5 times in the past. Yeah. And, you know, they'll say, well, oh, yeah, she runs away, and this every month she runs away. Well, she may be gone more this time, but we feel like she'll come back. So police don't, maybe they'll put it in the computer, they'll enter it into NCIC, which that allows people to run them if they know their actual true name. That could run them through the computer and find out they're runaway. But if they're being trafficked, then they may not even let them. I mean, it's so easy to get false ID, so they could get them a false ID from any state. You can come up and get a state ID. Now, a lot of times you got to have a birth certificate and other things, but other times they may not. I mean, they can just get a false ID that's made out here on the street. And unless you're real, unless you can run that ID and find out that it's not a good ID through the computer, like a police run it, you might not know. So they may give them and say, well, I don't have anything. All I have is my school ID. And they get a college ID made up with their name of some other person, picture that looks, their picture. They can put their actual picture on it, and some address and date of birth that's not theirs. And then if that officer says, do you have a driver's license? And they say, no, I never got a driver's license. There's no way for him to check truly if that's her name, unless he gets that name out of her. I remember stopping a car after one of our hurricanes we had down there on the Gulf Coast, and asking the guy's name, and he told me a false name. And I tried to run him, and of course it comes back not on file. And I get his passenger out, and we split him up. And during the talk with the passenger, he gives his true name of this guy. We run his true name, find out he's got 5 felony warrants out of Texas. So we hook him up and find out he's wanted for 5 murders out of Texas. So, you just don't know. If that passenger would have said, I don't know his name, he just gave me a ride. And, if I wouldn't have had any way of finding out, I could wrote him a ticket for no driver's license under that false name. But I wouldn't have any way. Now, they've got things coming out where a police officer can actually put your thumbprint, your big thumb or a thumbprint, finger inside a thing, and out of your fingerprint, if you got any record anywhere, it will come up. But they're working on something like that. Not all places, especially small departments, would have that. We're going to look at a couple of rescues that of some kids that were rescued, and also a showing some abductions that is pretty scary. Pretty
Tommy,
scary.
One of the things that I think it would be better for us to know is what to look for when you suspect. I mean, like, I don't know, like, one of the things I read or heard was that a lot of times the kids that have been trafficked, they won't have eye contact with you. They act like they're very shy.
But that's not always. I mean,
I know.
You've been in a restaurant, the kid won't look at you. I mean, you'll look at a kid and he will not look at you for anything. And you don't really have you don't want to call the police and say, hey, this kid won't look at me. They're
no, but they're you've got that Holy Spirit warning inside of you that
yeah,
says
but
something's not right.
Let me just show you.
Hi, sweetheart. You okay? Come here. Come here.
An Albuquerque police officer found an abducted 3-year-old girl sitting alone in a parking lot in the cold.
You're okay. She's okay. She's okay. She's getting warm. You're okay, baby.
Caroline Leon Alcacar was inside the car when it was stolen. The mom was running an errand inside a store. Officer Chris Pasho found her and quickly brought her inside his cruiser to warm up. She was reunited with her parents in a video captured from his lapel.
Yeah. Oh, my God. You said warmer his ear. Are you okay, sweetie?
Hi, baby girl.
The officer said she was motionless, very cold and scared.
I was using my spotlight and I saw a ball of purple in the middle of a parking lot and thought that weird, and I drove into the parking lot and I immediately could tell it was a kiddo.
It was an emotional day for everyone, including the officer, who is a dad of 3.
I'll be honest, on my way home I started crying too. I was just very happy and thankful that we were able to find her.
Police are still searching for the suspect who stole the car with a child inside. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the Albuquerque police. Be sure to watch Inside Edition.
Now, what does that tell you? First, never, ever, 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 ever leave your car outside and go into a store with your child in it. And I don't even care if it's locked, and I don't even care if you got somebody in the car with a child, that's different. But don't leave a bunch of kids in the car and run into the store because you think it can't happen where you live. It very well can. And even if the car is locked, there's a lot of people that can walk up and show them a false badge and tell them to unlock the door, and that car will be unlocked. I don't leave my animals in the car with the doors locked, and we've let Maggie in the car with the doors locked and the air conditioner on occasionally, because she don't want anybody around the car. She's not friendly when she's in there by herself. We watched her from afar, and she does not like anybody coming anywhere around that car with her in there by herself. Yeah, I'm talking about you, girl. But other than that, do not let your kids stay in the car by themselves. And I see that all the time.
Yeah, it's very scary.
You walk through the parking lot of Walmart in the summertime, and there'll be even kids with the windows down and them in the car. So it's just, I think you don't even do it if you're going into a quick stop where where you can actually see the car, because they've been things where people bashed out the window and stole the car, or either got in it somehow and got away. It's not good. Anything could happen. The car catch fire. Anything could happen. It's not
we
worth
witnessed
it.
one in Gulf Shores where a lady left a 6-week-old baby in the car. The doors were closed and locked. The windows were locked, were up, and the police came and broke a window and got the baby out. But she wasn't arrested because the police officer felt like she just forgot.
Yeah, I knew the guy, the cop, and I actually confronted him about it.
Yeah, he
Didn't
felt
do
sorry
much
for her.
good, but he was in charge of the scene, and I wasn't. Another one here. This one actually is an abduction. This shows an actual abduction, and you showing that this one is hard to watch.
We want to get to some new video just in showing the moment a toddler was abducted. There you see the suspect run up as the mother tries to keep him away from the toddler. This is after a shooting near Sacramento High School. Eventually, he's going to be able to wrestle that toddler from the mother's arms. Gut-wrenching to see.
Oh, just awful, awful video here, but it paints the picture of what happened, and obviously the pressure investigators are under right now to try and find this suspect and that little boy. Again, that frantic search underway right now for that toddler and the suspect.
So let's get to CBS 13's Marley Ginter live with more on that new video and the investigation. Marley.
Yeah, Tony and Adrian, I can hear it in your voices as parents. That video so upsetting to see right there. I just talked with neighbors. They tell me this is where the victims lived. And I'm going to walk over this way. I just noticed that this car does have a broken out window. Not sure, though, if that has anything to do with this scene. But over this way, there's actually a video camera that is set up above their neighbor's door. And that is what captured this really frightening video. All in it, and you could see the video right here. You could see the mother holding her child, that child believed to be 3-year-old Leo Norvell, 35 pounds, that child in his mother's arms, and you can see the suspect, Joshua Yago, a 30-year-old white male, run up. He's pulling on that child. You can see them arguing back and forth. You can't hear what's going on there, but you can definitely see the struggle, and then you see Yago run off with that little boy as the mother then takes off and runs out of that camera's view. Now, I want to give you a closer look at this suspect. So this is who police are looking for. You can take a look. Again, 30-year-old Joshua Yago, as well as you can see the child who is still believed to be with him, Leo Norvell, 3 years old, about 35 pounds. So a little guy only 3 years old. They are still looking for him, so under an Amber Alert at this point. And then if we show a map, too, you can get an idea of where this area is. It's near a high school. This is in a residential area, so a lot of homes here all close together. Neighbor said it's usually quiet out here, and so this is obviously very concerning. I spoke to the neighbor actually where this all happened right in his front yard. He said he felt helpless because he just couldn't do anything before this all just unfolded. And we also have the license plate. This is the BMW that the suspect, Joshua Yago, was last seen in, license plate number 6NT-U367. Again, a 2011 BMW. Police say he's possibly traveling to the San Jose area. Now, again, this all started with a shooting. This is right near 14th and 63rd Street. The victims believed to know that suspect, so this is not believed to be a random act of violence. Back to you.
And this baby was found safe. And the suspect is still at large, the way I understand it. And I don't think the child was related to the person that took him.
He did look like him.
Yeah, but that's what I read about it. I read on about it that there's nothing said on there that they were related. So I don't know if he had a relationship with the girl. Maybe he did in the past, and this is a way to get back at her. I don't know if that was or not. Another one here.
Show me your hands. Show me your hands.
The radio, they're tracking the car to South Gordon and hold on, stand by. Check the area, South Gordon and Westmead. The area that copied that location? It's right there. I'm gonna go look. You're up, look around Oglethorpe and Evans Street. Oh, Evans. I got the car, Peoples and RDA.
Yeah, information of GSD radio.
Go.
You cut off on Peoples.
Give me the air. Peoples northbound towards Oak Street. GSP is behind him. GSP pit. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Get the out the car. Open the door. Open the door.
So you're trying to kill us. You're trying to kill us. Oh my gosh, you're trying to kill us. Oh my gosh, you're trying to kill me. Why would y'all do that, man?
Get out.
Please don't. Don't beat me up, man. Listen, don't get on that. Y'all trying to kill me. Don't fight me, man.
Get on the ground.
Don't fight me. Stop, don't fight me. He don't stop on the fight me. He don't stop on the fight me. Please stop. Please.
Put your hands down.
Please. I didn't have to ask me, he ran into us. He hit us. That's messed up. He hit us. He's trying to kill us. He hit us. That's messed up. Oh, please not miss that with me.
Everyone, thanks for your help, GSP. Appreciate you coming over also. Over here.
He hit us. That's messed up.
4144 radio. Supervisor.
See why She, come here. I can show you where she's at. I can show you. Yes.
Okay, you did it.
No.
You did a good job. You did a good job, man.
No.
You did a good job. You did a good job.
Excuse me.
You okay?
Yes.
You okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna take you to your mom. You alright? You okay? You okay?
My mom called you.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
She did. You okay?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I got you.
I want to go now.
You know, I know a lot of people say, well, why did that officer use that type of language? I can tell you this. When you're so entranced with getting the bad guy out of the car, sometimes the officer speaks the bad guy's language. That's the type of language that they use a lot of times in the project, and they, unfortunately, that's the way it is.
Okay.
But that was not, I don't know if it was a parental abduction or not. I don't think it was. But they did get the child, and they did get him. There was another rescue. There's two more other rescues I'm going to show you. One was a stranger abduction, and I'm mixed emotions about this one. I think this is the one that I'm going to show you first. Just 1 second.
Okay.
It is where somebody sees an abduction happen, and they chase the people at over 100 miles an hour. And I don't recommend doing that. It's better to give them the police on the phone, the tag number, the direction of travel, the kind of car, because if you're driving 100 miles an hour out here, then if you have a wreck, it's going to kill the person you're chasing, probably the kid in the car, and maybe some. Now, what were you saying?
Beach Bum said, Thomas, be sure and give LNC credit, etc. They may strike you. They are good at that.
LNC, Law and Order?
Law court, law and whatever it was you just used.
I just used. Okay, I will in the well, let's see this in the last one. Also, I do it under the fact that under the Fair Use Act. That's what they're mostly. Fair use.
Mostly court stuff they have struck.
Okay, well they can strike me if they want to on that one particular one. We'll use the fair use doctrine and see what happens. But I will give them a credit in the narrative.
You would think they wouldn't care if you were trying to inform the citizens. Y'all, well, let's watch the video and then I want to ask.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm not sure which one is showing now because I think this one would just show.
The dramatic rescue of a 6-year-old girl kidnapped in Kentucky. A quick thinking neighbor helped police save the child, and Ariel Reshef has the story. Good morning, Ariel.
See here.
The dramatic rescue of a 6-year-old girl kidnapped in Kentucky. A quick thinking neighbor helped police save the child, and Ariel Reshef has the story. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, George. This is a parent's nightmare. Police say this little girl was riding her bike on her street around 5:30 in the afternoon when she was suddenly forced into a stranger's car. That neighbor, thankfully, springing into action.
Stay right there. Stay right there.
You're watching police body camera video of the moment a 6-year-old girl was rescued from her alleged kidnapper.
Hello. It's okay. Come here. It's okay.
Police say she was riding her bike when witnesses saw a man grab her and throw her into his car.
Parks his car, middle of the road, gets out, picks up a little girl off her bike on the sidewalk, throws her bike, throws her in the passenger seat, and he just, takes off.
Neighbor Prentice Weatherford hopping in his car to pursue the suspect, only stopping when he saw a police cruiser and provided them a partial license plate number.
As I'm watching it, it felt like my stomach would just just fell. I had to do something.
Thanks to detailed descriptions of that vehicle, officers were able to locate the little girl within 10 minutes.
See your hands.
What's your exact location?
Hands.
Sergeant Joe Keeling quickly arresting 40-year-old Robbie Wild.
You feel that fear that the child probably has in them, and you want to get to them as quick as you can and remove them from this situation to try to limit the trauma to them as much as you can. And luckily we were able to find her pretty quick.
Officer Jason Burba taking the young girl out of the passenger seat, carrying her to safety.
We were glad we were, there to get this guy off the street, there to get that girl safe, because if we miss this opportunity to do this one, it could be, our child next on the bike riding the streets.
Experts say this could have easily been a worst-case scenario if not for the vigilance and fast action of strangers.
That's the reason this child is home with their family safe tonight, because the public out there, they saw something, they said something, they did the right thing.
They sure did, and police say that little girl was unharmed. She is now, as you heard there, back home safe with her family. The suspect has pleaded not guilty. Guys.
So glad there was a happy ending in that story. Okay, Ariel, thank you so much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here.
How can they plead not guilty? I say when they find the child in the car. I know why they're doing that, because when they go to court, then if they want to plead guilty to try to get a better sentence, they might, if they have a maybe the judge they're looking at 40 years in prison, they may say, well, if I plead guilty and not bring this child up in here and have her been exposed to everything, I plead guilty, give me 20 years with the possibility of parole instead of 40 years with no possibility of parole. So,
But now I could see myself doing that. If I witnessed somebody grab a kid, I carry my phone with me everywhere I go. Did he call the police while he was driving those?
I'm not sure. That's not exactly the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
They did 100 and something miles an
But
hour.
I'm just saying, I'd be after that guy.
Oh yeah, me too. And if I've been after people a lot less, in my private car,
To the
One
dramatic
more that
rescue
I
of an
think this is the
11-year-old
last
girl
one. I got
kidnapped
one
on her
more
way
up
home
here.
from school.
Much.
An Amber Alert had just gone out, neighbors and strangers spreading the word. And tonight here, what one couple did to save her. We have remarkable images this evening as they chase her abductor's car, never letting that car out of their sight. Tonight, police have taken the suspect into custody, and here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Yes, it's him. Tonight, those heart-stopping moments as neighbors in Springfield, Massachusetts chase down an accused abductor.
This is a blue Honda Civic, and they're doing 100 miles an hour right now.
Police say inside that car, 11-year-old Charlotte Mosia.
He just blew through a red light. He's blowing through red lights.
Kidnapped 6 hours earlier as she got off her school bus, sparking an Amber Alert.
I flashed my high beams. The guy pulls up his hood and covers his face. Started to dart up Harvey Street, and I darted right behind him.
Strangers spreading the word on social media. Others spotting the vehicle, desperately calling for help.
The car was running, and he just grabbed her and threw her in the back seat, and she was screaming. She was saying, "Stop! Put me down! Stop! Put me down!"
Police in pursuit.
Possible vehicle headed eastbound on the pike. Regards to that Amber Alert.
Rescuing the girl.
Yeah, you have that girl in custody. Confirming you have that female. Affirmative.
The suspect, 24-year-old Miguel Rodriguez, arraigned on multiple charges, including kidnapping and assault. Authorities say video shows a car similar to the suspect's driving down the street the day before the kidnapping. Adding, the suspect's own sister called police, saying she believed her brother was involved. Charlotte reunited with her family.
David, police are calling this a case of stranger abduction, and tonight we're learning that suspect may have threatened that child with a knife. A not guilty plea has been entered on his behalf. David?
Just incredible. She'd been with that abductor for more than 6 hours, and they saved her. Ariel, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and
and there's a lot of times I heard on one of the videos, they said that they threatened their family. You scream, you say anything, and I'll come back and I'll kill your family, and I'll kill your brother and sister or whatever like that. and a lot of times they will do what they want because they don't want their family hurt. They don't see the actual threat is not that right now. I mean,
Talk to your kids and grandkids
you remember
about
you
that.
you
I
asked
asked Mindy. I
when
said
she was small, real
no,
small.
no, when she was about 8 or 9 years old.
Well, that's smaller than she is
Yeah, I
now.
asked her because Dakota was a baby. I said, Mindy, if somebody told you that they were going to hurt your baby brother or your mom and dad if you didn't go with them or do something that they wanted you to do that you knew was wrong, what would you do? And she said, I would go with them, Mommy, because they would hurt my mommy or my daddy or my baby brother. And I said, no, Mindy, what you need to understand is they can't get to us. They're lying to you. You need to understand they cannot hurt you. You need to come to us and tell us that they've done this, or, they cannot hurt us. They're lying to you.
I tell you, they did a study where this was all controlled. They had cameras. They had the parents of little kids there. The police did. And they had their kids in the park. They took their kids to the park, and some man walked up as a part of the demonstration to the parents, and he had a dog leash in his hand.
But wait, they interviewed every parent beforehand,
Right,
and
and
every parent said, "No, I've
No.
talked to my child about this.
Yeah,
they
they
would not
they
go."
would not go. And this guy walks up to him and says, "Excuse me, little girl, little boy," said, "Will you help me? I've lost my puppy. My puppy has gotten off her leash. See, I have her leash. She's gotten off her leash. Will you come help me?" Every one of these kids walked off with this guy.
That's right.
Every one of them. And not just walked a couple of feet off. I'm talking about 50 yards away till their parents were taken out, and every one of the parents were shocked. They were just really, really shocked. And another one they did with this one it absolutely floored me. They had a van parked in the parking lot. Yeah, at Birmingham they did this. They did. The police were showing the same thing. They
How
were
stupid people.
how people
how
are.
gullible people are. Not stupid. They're gullible.
They had a guy posing as a photographer walk up to teenagers. Now these are teenagers, young women and 18
to
17
24,
to
18
24,
to 24.
and said they were looking for models to take pictures of models, and if you come out to my van, let me take some shots inside the van. I'll submit them to our movie crew, whatever they were doing, and we'll see if we can't get you a modeling job because you're just beautiful.
Yeah.
And they had, I think they approached like
100 people, 100 women. That's what
Was
it
it
was.
100?
Yes, it was 100.
It wasn't.
How many do y'all think went out to the van to get their pictures made? How many? Wait, let them guess. Y'all, seriously, think about it. There was 100 women, 18 to 24. How many went?
Not sure if we did or not.
They were gullible, y'all. They wanted to be models that somebody was telling them.
Some of your. This is the one we've already shown, and that's the one I need to credit with. I will credit that with.
They were shocked that every woman they approached went with them. Every woman.
That's amazing to me because, I mean.
But you got this guy with the clipboard, and he says, "Look, we're looking for models in the area. You look beautiful. If you'll come out to the van with us, we'll make some pictures. And who knows? You may be the next model.
And when we were living at the Gulf Coast, I remember there was this guy. He was nothing but a pervert, but he advertised in the local, like one of these like little shopper things, wanted female models to do nude, semi-nude shots for upcoming national publication. That's all it said. And they gave a number. And I'm wondering, because you're an adult, you can do anything you want to. And, we always wondered, how many people did this? And I knew for a fact this guy was not associated with any type of national publication, but he, he just lied to him, and just to get, he was a pervert. But it was totally, as long as they're 21 years old or 18 now, I guess.
Hey, and
do
you
it.
know what? You need to tell your kids and grandkids, nieces, nephews, whoever will listen to you, and neighbors' kids. Just because a person walks up with a badge and shows you a badge and says, "I'm a policeman, go with me," doesn't mean he's a policeman. I always told Mindy, if they're not in uniform in a cop car or with the belt and everything in public, walking around with gun belt and badges and stuff, do not go with them.
Well, a thing I tell them is thing is to
So scary.
get somebody else there. Do you have somebody else that can come up here in uniform?
Yeah.
That can go with them, because a lot of times we were by ourselves, and a lot of times I hadn't wore a uniform when I was in law enforcement for probably 15 years. And I did not look like the police. I looked like long hair, and I had a badge, but I had a gun on. But I always could get a uniform there if they wanted one, and 9 times out of 10, if we had an arrest, we had uniform transport them, because it just, we don't want to first get somebody in one of our plane cars, but we would always have a uniform officer meet us there, and we could have them cuffed. They would be released to uniform.
Maggie. Hush.
And I wouldn't be by myself usually, but if I was, and say I arrested somebody at a pharmacy trying to buy some drugs by fraud or whatever, I might cuff them right there, but I would never take them completely out. I mean, that might take them just outside the door and get a uniform officer. A uniform officer might come up with me, so there'd be no mistaking. But 9 times out of 10, if there was ever a female there, I'd have a female officer come right away to search them, so that before we even transported them. But if it might be a male, no problem though.
Yeah,
But
but one of the things is, when we lived in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach area, I went into Souvenir City and other places like that, and there were fake police badges. And I talked to the manager and I said, "Look, this is how Adam Walsh
Thank
was
you,
taken."
though.
They didn't care. I said, "Look, do not sell. Please don't sell, especially in a tourist town. Please don't sell these things. These kids that see that badge, they'll go with that officer, that pervert, thinking he's an officer." But they didn't care. It was, they were $5 a piece for them, and they didn't care. I could have
They
bought
say,
every one
"Oh,
of
well, they
that.
know." And we used to see a lot of the badges that we used to confiscate were badges that firefighter badges, like volunteer firefighter badges. They would have small thing, and I mean, if you're not looking real close at it, you will never know if it's truly a firefighter badge or not. Or they'll say they'll have like a plastic thing that says FBI on it, and they have a little seal, but underneath it says female body inspector or something. Just a thing, or one of the, it was kind of weird, kind of fake stuff. I am being buffed. There you go.
You're being buffed. Here,
We
let me
were
buff
buffing. You can buy real badges on eBay from different cities, real badges, but they're badge collectors normally, and they're not cheap, usually 30, 40, 50 bucks. But if somebody wanted to buy one and fix up a thing and do some type of thing out there on the interstate, stock cars or whatever, I always tell females especially, or anybody, if you get a car that tries to stop you, unmarked car, on the interstate or anywhere like a dark road or whatever, turn on your flashers, slow down to a decent, say if your speed limit 65, slow down to 50 miles an hour, especially if you're by yourself, turn on your flashers
And
call
That's
911
right.
and say, hey, you've got an officer trying to stop me on X road here. I'm out in the country. Could you tell them I'm not going to stop until we get to a store where I feel safe? And 9 times out of 10, no more than that, the dispatcher will contact them and say, hey, I'm on the phone with that person. They would like to wait until they get to a store where they have light and they feel safe. And the officer, if he's worth anything, is going to say, okay, no problem. But,
I
you
won't
know,
stop. I won't stop. I turn my flashers on so they know I've seen them. But a lot of times they've got the blue lights in the grill, or they've got this blue light thing just stick up on top. Well, I see them at Goodwill for sale. So, hey, I'm not stopping for that.
but anyway, you know, I'm not saying if there's shopping centers and everything else around that you go on until you feel like stopping. No, if there's shopping centers and there's all kinds of light around there around you, pull over. Because if you
If there's
don't pull
people
over, it's not
around.
going to be pretty.
I told Tommy the other
they're
day,
going to pull you over.
I was speeding home because I really needed to go to the bathroom. I drank too much water. And he said, you're going to get a ticket. The police officer's going to pull you over and give you a ticket. I said, he's going to have to follow me all the way home. I'm going to jump out and run in there and go to the bathroom. And you can tell him I'll be right back out and give him my license. I was about to die.
But it feels good to see all these people being rescued, all these kids being rescued. But it really gets me when I see mom leaves their baby in the car, runs in to get a pack of cigarettes or something at the 5 and Dime or 7-Eleven, and boom, their car gets stolen. A lot of times the people don't even know there's kids in the car when they steal the car, but they do. And that's the ones you really got to worry about, is the people that really do, because then you don't know what's going to happen to your kid out there.
I don't know about y'all, but this show tonight has made me anxious. It makes
What?
because of the drama of the children, and I just God, it just breaks my heart.
Well, the last one, the 11-year-old, they said he's going to be charged with assault also. So that tells me he probably assaulted the child, you know. And I read somewhere that if a child is actually abducted by a stranger, that the first 5 or 6 hours after the abduction is the most dangerous of that. They may even be it was a lot less than that. I think the first 3 hours after the abduction is the most dangerous, because a lot of these people are impulse type guys. They'll snatch a kid and they won't wait too long before they do what they're going to do to
Medina, perfect you with or without. I maybe you meant prefer you with or without hair, because I can't wrap my head around it.
Well,
I
Dina
like him with hair, but not down
cut
here
it.
curly.
Dina cut my hair the other day and cut it too short. I
He
personally
sneezed, and
would love to grow my hair out again longer. And this time, I keep saying next time I am, but who knows? You know, I would love to have it long once again. Um,
I love you with it, like
yeah,
a
T.S.
gentleman.
Jackson. I had a man calling me, claiming to be OGBN, told me
Told my mom had set up an appointment for her. She believed him.
Okay.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when I was I was probably about 14, and I had one of these calls back to the house, and it was, it was embarrassing even to me at 14, and I got mad, said some things on the phone to this person, but nowadays they can trace a lot of this stuff. The phone is, as long as they don't have a burner phone or something. and police are not going to track down burner phones for just obscene calls if they're just doing one or two calls. If they make a threat or they feel like that is something that they say that is they can tie it into something else, maybe. But I don't hear about a lot of even when I was back in uniform, I didn't hear about a lot of obscene phone calls. It wasn't. I don't remember a lot of obscene phone calls the way we did. There'd be people that do
I
stuff
got
on
a
the
couple
computer
of
and stuff.
obscene phone calls. I just handed it to my dad.
Yeah.
So y'all, we are planning a trip to Milwaukee one day this week, and we're going to see something that when I first read it, it gave me pause because I was like, really? I
Wait,
didn't understand
you may
it.
be going. I don't know if I'm going or not.
Yes, you are, because you're
I don't know that I'm going. You making promises for me to do something that I don't know yet that I'm going to do or not. So
you don't make me go to
put me.
places by myself in downtown
Well,
Milwaukee.
I'm not. Well, I'll wait for you outside or something.
Okay.
I don't know that I'm going or not. Why don't we wait till we go and so we'll make that decision and tell everybody about it.
Okay.
So anyway,
It's not a strip joint.
no, I know that.
No, I'm telling them.
Okay. But anyway, let's see. Bring back big hair. I'm all about that.
You want a perm?
I just like my hair to be long enough I could have one.
If you think about when would be a time that you would like to have lived? I think I would have liked to have lived and been an adult in the 40s, because I've watched. How many of you have seen the movie? It's either The Lost Valentine or The Last Valentine. Video.
My internet is buffing.
And in the video, in the video of his song about the war, it was set back in World War II. The first verse was, and the second verse was the wars that are going on today. But anyway.
One other question. What do y'all think about, and we're not going to comment either way. I asked this on my regular personal Facebook page, but how many of y'all think that rifles, AR-15s, stuff like that ought to be 21 and above to buy? If you consider all of the stuff that's going on in the nation now, how many think that you ought to be 21 to buy them? But I'm gonna throw this little caveat in there, and this is the argument to allow 18-year-olds to buy. How can you ask somebody to go fight in a war overseas at 18, but deny them the right to arm themselves when they come back? Well, if you say that, then how can you deny them alcohol? You can't buy alcohol in most states now until you're 21. You can't buy cigarettes in most states till you're 21. In Alabama, you can't. And you can't buy a pistol until you're 21. So how many you feel like you need to
Okay, it's Joe.
Be 21 to buy a rifle, any type of rifle, hunting rifle too? Would you have a problem with that?
No. Maui Swift said yes. Lori Ann said nope.
I just mainly wanted to see because
TS said no.
I know of a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds that They don't need to. I'd have really pause if they had an AR because it's just not mature enough to handle it. A gun that can shoot, basically, an AR can shoot through a wall. You know, you shoot inside a house. Now it goes through every wall in this house, anywhere. Shoot through an RV, clean through an RV. Yet, you know, how do you restrict that if you send them over there overseas? You train them to use one.
Well,
You know, I don't
armed
know.
services is voluntary, so they're volunteering for.
Yeah, they are volunteer up until a point. Most people still have to register for the draft when they turn 18. Is that still true now? I don't know. I registered a long time ago, but I think you still have to register for the draft.
You registered during the Civil War times.
Negative. My draft card number is 1H.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Beach bum, you're right. Some people aren't mature even at 30.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the last two shootings that it was 18-year-old young men that bought their guns and went and did that horrible thing. I think that got a lot of people.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. It's just I'll make a prediction. They're gonna go to 21 on purchasing any AR or any type of military style rifle. Now they may not go there for all rifles, but they very well could. They could go for all rifles.
Hey. What do you see out there that's got you all fired up?
They may go for all rifles that way, make it 21 across the board, just all for all guns, or they may could do this. They may could go for 21 to all ammo, and you know that could do it. They get them either way. They got you.
Oh my goodness, what an eye she has!
But
there's a deer all the way over there in the woods, and she saw it.
Yeah, I see the deer now. It's standing over there.
She's been chasing them deers, y'all.
She ain't got a prayer on catching one, but there's deer all around here. I see the deer now. He's standing right there. I see.
Linda, we heard Matthew McConaughey speak today,
and I'll give you a little heads up. Matthew McConaughey is my favorite male actor. I love his movies. I see every one of them. I had a lot of when I first heard that, I was really concerned for what he was going to say, but he really, he did make a lot of good points. Is hey, all he pretty much wants is to make it all 21, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really have a problem with that. Making it all 21, because I've seen some real 18-year-old kids that don't need to have guns. But on the other hand, I don't want it to go. I'm scared it's going to go a lot further than that.
That does.
It's kind of a slippery slope. Once you let the gun, and I was raised around guns. I had guns. I had a gun, access to a gun ever since I was 12 years old. Never, ever, ever thought about shooting anybody with a gun like that, going out and doing something like that. I had access to rifles, shotguns, and of course I did not buy my first AR-15 until I was in my 20s, because I did it when I was in law enforcement. But I don't know. It's a kind of a weird thing. I'm afraid that when you have a lot of these shootings go, we don't want kids shot up in school. I don't think there's anybody out there that even likes guns will say yes. They don't have evidence. Who would say that? I believe.
But there are other ways besides just.
And I'll be honest with you, I have a real problem with those officers that didn't go in that room and do that. I think I would have just told my superior, "It's too bad. You just do whatever you want to me, because I'm going in."
That's right.
I just would have had.
I don't understand
did
that.
It anyway.
Not for 75 minutes.
No, I know that we were taught when you get there, don't wait for backup. Don't wait for anybody else to go to the gunfire. That is what you're taught. Go to the gunfire.
But you know what?
Whether you're
There's
by
enough.
yourself or you have somebody with you, go to the gunfire.
There's enough retired police officers in this nation that you could put one or two in every school.
Even retired military.
Yeah, but retired
That's
military.
what they said, that, you know, up in North Alabama, they do that. If you're a retired police officer in good standing, which means you still have all of your arrest powers, then they hire you at $20 an hour. They give you a uniform and a car, and they put you in the school. So these guys that are retired, they want something to do. Maybe they don't want to work every day of the week, but they want to work 3-4 days a week. They'll put 4 or 5 of them in the school, and they basically become friends with these kids out there. They show that police are not the bad guy all the time, and they are there in case something bad happens, because you have not seen yet a school shooting where there was a SRO on campus at the time.
SRO.
SRO is school resource officer. You haven't seen one where they had a police officer working there all the time that was on. You've seen there that they've had some police officers, but they were out that day. Then, and the people knew it for whatever reason. They were out, they were at lunch, whatever. But most of the time up there in North Alabama, they'll put 2 to 3 officers in the school. So there's always somebody walking the halls, always somebody manned. You know, they put somebody on the front door. The only one door will be open in the school, and it's the front door, and they have an officer there. And
him on the way in. So there is no but even arming some of the teachers. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. You know, as long as the teacher can get to her gun, you know, I don't, to me.
Well, I think the only problem I see with teachers being armed or not is they got to make it where the safety of the student, they can't be where the student can easily get the gun. And I think that's where they're worried about that. But yeah, hey,
what is my gun? What is my gun?
Yours a 38.
It's a 38.
Mm-hmm. It's a Smith & Wesson 38.
Smith & Wesson lightweight 38, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hammerless.
Hammerless.
Also, we want to remember too that we are still looking for the person that has Michael Monkey Joseph Vaughn. That's, they call him Monkey, in Fruitland, Idaho. He is still missing out there. And remember, if you're going to support a charity, we encourage you to support Tunnels to Towers. We are supporters, actively supporting them through financial means. And what they do is, any police officer, firefighter, or active duty service member that has been killed in the line of duty, they make sure that their widow or widower has their house completely paid for. And even they've have some of the men and women that are been or one leg taken off, they've gone in and built their house where they could be serviceable for them, where they have counters a little bit lower, or counters to move up and down. It's just a very, very good organization.
Hey, Beach Bum said Sheriff Grady Judge in Polk said the other day, this is how it's done.
I love to watch him, man. I've talked to him on the internet before also, and he's a super good guy. But yeah, he will tell you how it's done. He said, if you come in our county, you break into our house, we're gonna encourage our people in our county to shoot you, and we hope we find them laying in the yard or laying inside the house when we get there. So yeah, he's a good guy. All right, well, we're gonna
No, we're gonna.
No,
pray.
we're not. Huh?
We're gonna pray. They asked for us to pray for Teresa, and hold on. T.S. Jackson asked for prayer too. Hold on. I don't want to mess it up here. For Teresa, for healing and health. And let's see. T.S. said she would like prayer for a friend whose wife, daughter, it's a friend, the wife, daughter, and friends of a dear friend I lost a few days ago. He was her friend, and she wants us to pray. He went back into surgery and died. She wants us to pray for the wife, daughter, and friend. Beach Bum says, cover our households in prayer and protection. That seems very difficult. Okay, y'all. So the ones that want to stay and pray, then let's pray. And if y'all have any prayer requests, if you put them down in the comments, Tommy will call them out and we'll pray about those. Father, we come to you right now. And God, first I ask you to calm our spirits, because the things that we just saw were very troubling to us, because we love people, God, and we love children. And God, these children that were traumatized by these evil men and the acts, God, just calm us down. And Father, if there is anything between us and you that would keep you from hearing our prayers, then I ask you convict our hearts of it, that we can confess it. That God, there's nothing between us and you that would keep you from hearing our prayers. God, I just want to say thank you for giving us this beautiful day that you did. God, you care about everything we care about. And right now we want to come to you for Teresa, God. She's been dealing with some health issues, and God, you know what's going on in her body. You created her in her mother's womb. You know every day she's going to live and every word she's going to speak. God, you know all the hairs on her head. God, you've collected the tears that she has cried and put them in a bottle. And so, God, we ask that even now you begin to pour your healing oil over her from the top of her head to the soles of her feet, that you would cause every part of her body to line up and work the way you designed it to. And if there are issues inside her body, God, we pray that you bring healing to those areas. Give her wisdom, give the doctors wisdom on whatever it is that she needs to do. And God, we just thank you for that. And for this friend of TS's that he died, and his wife and daughter and friends are now left with an empty void that, God, can't be filled. God, I just pray right now that you would bring peace to the family, God, that you would remind them of the good times, and God, remind them that this didn't catch you off guard. It caught them off guard, but God, it didn't catch you off guard. And that, God, if they will lean on you during these times when waves of sorrow come upon them like the ocean waves, that God, that they will just lean back into you, and you will wrap your arms around them, God, and give them a peace that passes all understanding. Remind them of the good times, and Lord, remind them that he would not want them to stay in a sorrowful situation, God, that he would want them to remember him full of life and full of joy. And so, God, I just pray right now that you will bring peace to that family. Wrap your arms around them, and when they sleep tonight, God, give them peaceful sleep and wake them up refreshed. God, Beach Bum asks for prayers over our families. God, you know how the families are being just attacked constantly in every direction, and the enemies of this world are wanting to divide us and to split us up, not just in race and gender and ages, but also he wants to split the families, God. He comes in to kill, steal, and destroy. But God, we lean on you for your understanding on how to fight the enemy. And you've told us in your word that we need to put on the full armor of God, the helmet of salvation, God, that stops the fiery darts that come into our mind constantly, telling us that we're not worth it, or that God, that nothing's going to change, that no way, there's no hope. God, that helmet of salvation gives us that hope, to put on the breastplate of righteousness, to walk in a way that brings peace, God, to take up the belt of truth and the sword of the Spirit, God. And the sword of the Spirit is exactly what Jesus used. The word of God, when the enemy came at him, he came back to the enemy with, it is written. And God, it is written that that you are for us and the enemy is against us, but stronger are you inside of us than the enemy of this world. God, we thank you for that. God, help us to walk in a manner that's worthy of the calling that you have on our life. God, use my mind. Give me the mind of Christ. God, when I'm thinking on things, let it be the mind of Christ. God, give me eyes to see the areas where I can help. Give me eyes to see what you see, God, the ones that are hurting and downtrodden. And God, give me ears to hear what the Holy Spirit tells me to say and words to speak that only encourage, edify, and build up. God, use my hands. Use our hands, God. Use our hands to bring peace and joy and a hug, God, when someone needs it. And God, use our feet to send us where you want us to go. God, we surrender to you, and God, we want to be messengers of your Son. God, when people look at us, I want them to see that we love Jesus and we love people. The Bible tells us that they will know us by our love. God, let our love towards people be stronger and seen more than any words that we can say. God, because we screw up and stick our foot in our mouth all the time. And God, we're just human, and we just need to come to you and confess and ask forgiveness, so that one day when we stand before the throne of judgment, God, that we are wrapped in the righteousness of Christ and you see your Son instead of us. God, we just praise you. We thank you, God, for answered prayers for these young kids that are missing, God, that we don't know where they are. Funky is, God. If he is still alive, God, bring him home. God, let him come home to his parents. God, if Summer Wells is still out there, God, please, God, show them that people praying for them. God, wrap your arms around them. But God, if they are already in your arms, then let the people who did this to them be brought to justice, God, your justice. And you said for us to leave room for the vengeance of the Lord. And so, God, we're leaving room for that, because, God, right now, every part of us wants to destroy anybody that hurts a child. But God, we know you love those little children. You love, God, as long as we're breathing, we have hope. And so, God, we hope in the fact that this evilness that's around us, God, will be quenched, and that there will be no more of it. God, I know that's asking a lot, because it's not heaven. And God, we look forward to the time when we are in heaven. In the morning, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And remember, tomorrow night we are going to be live also on our channel on the 1 Million Mile Road Trip. I think we're going to try to do it at 8 o'clock Eastern. 8 o'clock Central Time. So anyway, check us out on that. We do appreciate it. And thank you for being here tonight. And we love each and every one of y'all.
Beach Bum wants you to put something on the community page.
What do you want me to put on the community page?
Maybe Sheriff Grady? I don't know.
I can put Sheriff Grady on the community page.
Okay, tell him real quick, Beach.
Wait a minute. What? Tell me again.
She hasn't put it yet. Come on, Beach Bum, type fast. What did you get excited about, Maggie?
I'll see if I can find it.
What was it?
Sheriff Grady. Anyway.
Okay.
Love you guys.